my alpha, I'm dying. Should we watch something about Hantavirus? I don't know if I got much to say about it, but we can see. Because I feel like it's a lot of fear mongering, but I don't know. Because I see every oh my goodness, guys, I be seeing this stuff on like TikTok and everyone's like tweaking out over it, but I don't know if it's that bad because like I didn't look into it or nothing. So we're gonna look into it now. This is new from 7 hours ago. Only Dr. Drew. All right, let me pause. No more jazz for y'all. All right, I hope the volume is okay. Let's turn it up back to where it was. All right, Hantavirus. Let us see.
A couple things about Hantavirus.
Oh shit, he already got it.
I hope you won't fall for this again. We had monkeypox.
What? Wait. I never heard about that. Monkeypox? Bird flu? I'm also cracking open the slip. Never mind, bro.
Flu.
Y'all know what I mean.
We've had, of course, COVID.
Yes.
And now we're going to do it again with Hantavirus. We're going to try to make you panic. We're going to bring up the issue of masks again.
Wait, is that being brought up? Are people... Wait, no. Are people talking about wearing masks again? Honestly, that's not such a bad thing for me. I liked wearing the mask. Although, when I wore the mask... Wow, that's what the mask is. When I wore the mask, I was in 8th grade and 9th. So, yeah, middle school and freshman year. And then it kind of went away. Well, because that's when, like, we went back to public is 8th grade. I don't even know what year that was in freshman year. But, dang, are we doing masks again?
Quarantines. It is insane that the press, first of all, is covering this. Secondly, pay careful attention to the so-called professionals that are out there trying to scare the shit out of you. You should see them for who they are. And remember, these were the same people that brought the COVID disaster upon us. I cannot for the life...
But didn't COVID, like, kill people? I thought COVID, like... I know there were a lot of theories that COVID is fake. And it's, you know, the government trying to whatever. But didn't, like, people legit die from COVID? I know, I think I had COVID once. And I slept for like 3 days straight. I was laid up in my bed just sleeping for like 3 days. And I was like all catty cornered. Like my bed faces like this way. So it's facing like towards that wall back there behind me. I was like laying this way in my bed. Like at like a diagonal. I don't even know what I was doing. It was weird.
For me. Understand what their motivation is for being so draconian with their presentation.
I have no clue what draconian
Literally.
is.
There are 9 states watching like...
I know that though, yeah. Like it you had COVID. Did you for real? Was COVID bad for you or was it just kind of like chill? But yeah, like there's not a lot of people like with it. I mean, I think everyone's tweaking out because like it came from a cruise ship, I guess. I don't know. So it could be like some foreign disease. I have no clue.
Were isolated in their home, quarantined as we normally do when there are people sick or exposed. You quarantine them somewhere, okay? Some of them are in Nebraska, I think. And you watch and quarantine, and if they get sick, you treat them. And by the way, there have been some evidence that certain antivirals, particularly one that's, I think, available in Japan,
bro, you guys
has shown good
me
efficacy against the virus. The people that really get in trouble with it, you've heard this before, older people, over 65, over 70.
That's what I heard about COVID, is that it mainly affects the old people and the youngins, like babies and stuff.
It has a somewhere between a 20-30% fatality rate. Some of that may be overstated.
Is that a lot? Oh my God.
On the same token, the human-to-human transmission, you've heard of this Andy's version or Andean subclade of the virus. Maybe that has human-to-human transmission. Maybe. It's very difficult to sort out with these viruses with long lead times, long incubation periods to determine whether, because by the way, they do not spread when people are asymptomatic. Get that out of your head.
Wait, for real? Wait. So, if I get a virus and I have no symptoms, it's not going to spread? I feel like it still, I don't know. I mean, he's the doctor, not me. But I feel like it still could, no? I feel like the virus could still spread even if you're asymptomatic because you still got it, right? But I don't know. He's the doctor.
That does not seem to happen. If there is spread, it is when the individual is sick, we think.
Oh,
because
okay.
the reason that is so hard to sort out versus household exposure,
for some
right? People in the same environment where the individual got sick in the first place from the rat poo, the rat urine dust.
Wait. Did they just eat it? Like, is that how you get a virus from a rat? Is eating rat shit? Is that how you get a virus from a rat? Or breathing in their pee dust? Yo. Ew. No.
The stuff that they were kind of breathing in or touching. You go in there and you sort of clean out a closet, and that dust is something that you can get exposed to, or it gets on your hands and you get adjusted that way. That is probably how most of it is.
You know, honestly though, we've probably all eaten rat poo at some point. Like, I guarantee you everyone has eaten rat poo at a point. Because, I mean, you go to restaurants, you don't know what's going on. You go to so many restaurants and so many places, and you eat so much food in your life, you most definitely have eaten rat poo. I guarantee it. I don't think there's a single person, except like a person who's 1 day old, who hasn't eaten rat poo.
Transmitted, and whether there is even human to human is something that is up for debate. Let's assume there is. I think it's a reasonable assumption. So you keep people quarantined, watch them.
Yeah.
The reality is the 8-week window also is probably an overstatement.
Why is it an overstatement?
It is probably the case that the actual window for development of this illness is more like 2 to 4 weeks.
That's a long time.
Let's use the most conservative numbers possible and say, oh, let's watch them for 8 weeks. Fine. The last thing they should have ever done is quarantine these people on a ship where they may have been originally exposed. I don't know if you saw some of the commentary from I think it was an Argentinian island where people were saying they were in a landfill and maybe that's how they got.
So they got quarantined. All right. They got quarantined on the ship, but then we're just allowed to get off the ship? Is that what am I picking up what he's putting down? Is that what happened?
Got exposed? No. They said, we've checked for Hanta. We don't have it. There's no way it happened on this island, meaning that there is a reasonable probability that they were infected before they got on the ship or infected on the ship. Where they quarantine people in the environment where there's no ventilation and there could possibly be
so they just get worse, right? If you're stuck in sick room, say my room had a bunch of like sickness pheromones running around, running rampant. If I just sat in here, I'd get sicker and sicker, right? Because I'd be exposed to the sickness pheromones. Saying pheromones and like it made me think of Omegaverse, like alpha pheromones, like, oh, I'm dying, my alpha, I'm dying. Like, okay, imagine being stuck in a room with an alpha who is just consistently releasing his pheromones. Because you already have it. Okay, but I'm trying to take it into BL terminology, right? Because it's like the same concept. So if you're stuck in a room with an alpha and they're just consistently, releasing out their pheromones and you're an omega, you're cooked. It's over, right? Because then it just becomes so overpowering. That's what he means, right?
Or feces that could be aerosolized that could get people sick. So I'm going to predict that if people do get sick, it's because of that common exposure on the ship that the World Health Organization mandated. This was a complete catastrophe. Occasionally, there were a couple people in the WHO who came forward and said, look, relax, this is very low risk.
I heard that. Because I be getting little messages from Opera where it's like giving me news, and I'm like, I saw one, it was something about the the World Health Organization. I didn't read it.
Low risk. They should have been saying zero risk. There is zero risk. There's nobody listening to me today that's going to get hantavirus from this outbreak. If you get it,
we
it's
ever
because the infected rats were in your home and you got an exposure, which happens like 70 times a year or something like that.
Okay, but guys, also, like, realize, don't believe everything you see on the internet. Just because this Dr. Drew man is saying this, don't mean it's true. Nothing we're about to watch about the Hantavirus is something that we should take without a grain of salt. Yes, so take everything with a grain of salt. Put a little salt in your dish, okay?
So, everybody's doing what they're supposed to do. It's a nasty illness. You don't want to get it. If you remember, it killed Gene Hackman's wife.
Who?
It's a nasty thing. You don't want to get it.
I don't know who that is.
But you're not going to. So here's what you do. Rodent control. Here's the problem. In California, they've outlawed most of the means of really effectively controlling rodents. So write your state officials here in California, because we are overrun with rats and mice.
I don't live in California. Oh, thank goodness, bro. If I lived in California, I think I'd slime myself out. For real. I could not live in California where it's hot and it's all... oh my gosh, bro. It's so crazy to look at California, dude. I could never. I want to move... Like, I want to move to the... I want to move to the West Coast, but, like, upper West Coast. Like, I don't know, like Oregon or, like, Washington or something. Like, where it's rainy and there's mountains and it's all foggy and shit. Not, the scorching desert, dude. Nah.
Population and the unwillingness to do what we need to do to control these vectors.
I see. Oh, wait.
Locally here, where we have so much homelessness, they also are a vector for rickettsial disease like murine typhus. And ultimately, what follows murine typhus is the plague. So
what? The plague? The plague? Hantavirus. This is just an actual person talking about it. All right. Let's see. We got any more? Hit France. Yeah. What? All right. Let's see what's at the tippy top here. All right. So we got ABC News. All right. This is a 1 minute long clip. Guys, don't trust anyone. Don't trust anyone. We cannot trust no one. This is a
rare strain
little
of the Ebola virus
says.
Is suspected of causing at least 80 deaths in the Congo and Uganda.
Yo, what?
Hundreds more may be infected. The UN's health organization has now declared a global emergency. Let's bring in
What? This is so different from what that man just told us. A global health? Hold on, guys. I need to look this up. Hold on. All right. Okay, so we got so we did this. Ebola disease caused by Bundibugyo virus. Oh my god, oh my god. I don't think that's it. I think it's... Should I just search Hantavirus? No, don't know. Just get no. I just want to look up the Hanta. Okay. Alright. Let's see. Situation at a glance. This is third disease outbreak news report. Severe respiratory illness cases aboard MV Honduras, a cruise ship since the last DON was published. 2 additional confirmed cases were reported in France and Spain. Inconclusive result for a case in the United States. All were passengers on the ship as 13 of May. Total 11 cases, including 3 deaths, have been reported. Fatality case 27%. 8 cases were labored. Confirmed for this. Global. They released 11 cases, 8 confirmed, 1 inconclusive, and 2 probable cases. All right. With 3 deaths, 2 confirmed and 1 probable. How is 1 death 2 deaths are confirmed but 1 is not? Haven't reported. Confirmed 1 case France, space and case in Spain. The latter was repetitive. Is currently asymptomatic with inconclusive laboratory results being retested. A sample due to high-risk exposure to confirmed cases on board. Manageable. Okay. Did they release a freaking thing though? Oh, it's wait, this is something different, is it not? Wait a minute. It's literally right here. Hold on. It's the Ebola. Is that what the hantavirus? Oh my god. Hantavirus is. Make myself tiny. Alright. Alright. Let's see. I need to turn this down. It's like hurting my eyeballs. Okay. Who is alerted of a high mortality outbreak of an unknown illness in Mongwalu Health Zone, Ituri Province, Democratic Republic of the Congo, including deaths among health workers. The Institute, that Institut National de Recherche Biomedical, Kinshasa, analyzed 13 blood samples, confirmed that the Bundibugyo virus disease in 8 of the samples, a species of Ebola. I don't even know what Ebola is. Don't think so. No, don't think so. What? Huh? The case fatality rates in the past 30 to 50%. Unlike Ebola virus disease, there's no licensed vaccine or specific therapeutics against Bundibugyo virus, though early supportive care is life-saving. Ministry of Public Health, Hygiene, and Social Order officially declared the 17th Ebola disease outbreak. So is this Hanta? Wait a minute. Oh my goodness gracious. Okay, it's called the Bundibugyo. Alright. What is it? Okay, but is it the hantavirus? Is the hantavirus? I don't think it is, right? No? No. Alright, so this video... Oh wait, it's on both? Oh wait, shit.
ABC's Alex Perez on that, causing at least 80 deaths in the Congo and Uganda.
Wait. Are we talking about the Ebola or Hanta? Because Hanta is not the thing.
A rare strain of the Ebola virus is suspected of causing at least 80 deaths in the Congo and Uganda.
Okay.
Hundreds more may be infected. The UN's health organization has now declared a global emergency. Let's bring in ABC's Alex Perez on that. And Alex, I know you also have news about that deadly Hantavirus outbreak. What's the latest?
Okay.
Well, Lindsay, as of Friday, 18 passengers remain here under observation at the University of Nebraska's biocontainment unit. Now, Canada has confirmed, authorities there have confirmed that a Canadian citizen who was also on the cruise ship has tested positive for hantavirus. Now, the CDC says there have been no confirmed hantavirus cases in the U.S. connected to that cruise ship outbreak. In all, there have been 11 confirmed hantavirus cases linked to the MV Handia ship. 3 people have died. All this as authorities with the World Health Organization have declared the deadly Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda a public health emergency of internet.
Yeah, okay, so the hantavirus has not been declared like a big thing yet. But this strain of Ebola, Bundibugyo, is a threat to these people in Congo and stuff. Dang, dude. Freaking scary.
Concern under President Trump, the U.S. pulled out of the World Health Organization.
I forgot about that.
The CDC says the risk to the American public remains low. Lindsay?
Okay. All right, Alex, thank you.
So we won't be in danger. I guess that's great, but not really. Wait a minute, what is this? Oh my god, are they just yapping? Bro, I'm going down a rabbit hole of virus content. Oh my goodness gracious. Let's see.
An outbreak of Ebola in Central Africa has got global health officials worried. Hundreds of cases have been reported, along with more than 100 deaths. So what's behind the outbreak, and how dangerous is it to the region and the world? What you're about to see is supplies being rushed to the front lines of the outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo. The World Health Organization is sending nearly 5 tons of medicine and equipment. Health workers
5 tons? Oh my gosh. Why did Trump pull us out of this shit, bro? They helping people. What? I don't even know why he did.
Workers are also en route. Now, the outbreak is centered on the western Ituri province in the DRC. Cases and deaths have also been reported in neighbouring Uganda. Officials fear the disease could soon spread further to Rwanda.
That would be bad.
Turning into something.
Look how tiny Rwanda is, and Ituri in Uganda. I hope I got Uganda right. They're a little bit bigger, but oh my gosh, they're so tiny.
The national community is increasingly worried about. Here is what the UN is saying most recently.
What is the UN?
You'll have seen that yesterday, the World Health Organization said that the Ebola outbreak in the Democratic Republic of Congo and Uganda constitutes a public health emergency of international concern, highlighting the high risk of further spread and the likelihood that the outbreak may be larger than currently detected.
Okay, guys, but don't get too scared. Stay optimistic. We gotta stay optimistic. Although it is scary that it could go international. And, I mean, imagine how scary it is for them over there, dude. In Africa. Oh my gosh.
The outbreak involves the Bundibugyo strain of the Ebola virus, for which there are currently no licensed vaccines or specific therapeutics.
That's not good.
Now, the DRC, it should be said, has seen outbreaks before. Eric Feigl-Ding can help us understand what makes this one different. He's an epidemiologist and chair of the Department of Public Health at the New England Complex Systems Institute think tank in the US. Eric, great to see you again. The mention of the name Ebola is enough to strike a certain amount of fear into anyone who remembers the Ebola outbreak of 2013 that killed more.
How old was I? I was 5.
Than 10,000 people.
Yo.
What worries you most about this current situation?
Bro, it would be so scary if like another Black Plague came along. Like somehow it came back. I don't know. Is it still around? I don't know. But like something like it where it's just like, oh, that would be horrible. That would be so terrifying. I mean, now with like the stuff we have, it'd probably be easier. But like back in the day when they did not, ooh, yikes.
That
would be scary.
Yeah, happy to be back. Well, unhappy that it's about another Ebola outbreak. But I think this one is not
I know where that is.
Zaire strain.
I live in the state.
Which we have.
Well, isn't D.C. like its own state? I live in the state that D.C. is stated in.
Treatments for. This strain is a relatively very rare, different strain. And again, we don't have vaccine treatment, and it seems to be spreading faster based on our preliminary estimates than the previous Ebola strain. So all that combined, lack of vaccine.
Does Ebola just like come back and come back and come back? Like, it's. I don't know, because I don't know anything about it, bro. I don't know nothing about Ebola.
Established treatment and seemingly a little more contagious in terms of speed is a little bit worrisome, because somehow like we've very high positivity among the cases that we've tested, and we haven't even tested that many at all. So the fact that it's already infected and killed at least 4 or 5 healthcare workers is also very worrisome, because that's almost like the tip of the iceberg. If it's already killing healthcare workers and it's spread to so many different regions already relatively quickly with very little testing, we're already finding so many. That means we're just scraping the top, and this outbreak is much wider than we thought. And
yikes, that's because those are like reported cases, right? So like if you don't report it, then you're not, like, it's not documented, right? Like if they don't know you have it, because there's like an incubation period for like most stuff, right? So
in many ways, the coordination with the global, CDC is no longer coordinating with the WHO. USAID presence is non-existent anymore. They used to be able to find cases a lot faster. it also sets up a perfect storm that we're not dealing with this virus, and this epidemic may be bigger than we previously thought.
Bro, like, it's crazy because I've heard nothing about the Ebola. All I've heard is the Hantavirus, and it's all been about Hanta. And I'm so scared. I know people are going to get misinformed for sure because of the, what the WHO released, like, the crisis, the emergency or whatever. Like, I guarantee you people are going to go online and spread misinformation and say that is about the Hantavirus and not the Ebola strain, and then boom, there's even more people freaking out. Like, I feel like that is something that will for sure happen. 100%. That's why I'm here to inform you guys, for real. I'm the researcher now.
Dig into all of that
live researching.
Let's, before we push on much further, take a look at what Ebola is.
Oh yes, please tell me.
What happens to
I
those
have no
who
clue
are
what it is.
infected. Ebola is a rare but serious disease caused by a group of viruses. It is spread through contact with infected bodily fluids such as blood or vomit. After a person is infected, the first symptoms appear between...
See, there's an incubation period, so there could be, like, even more people. Let me not talk with food in my mouth. There could be even more people with it.
Between 2 and 20.
But you just don't gotta touch their fluids. Isn't that easy?
1 days. Early symptoms of the disease include fever, aches, pains, and fatigue. Later, those infected can suffer from diarrhea, vomiting, and bleeding.
From where?
It's a grim set of symptoms. Professor, what is it about this latest particular strain of Ebola that makes it so different?
Oh, yes. I know.
Well, it's a different strain altogether, and it's different enough of a strain from the Zaire strain, the traditional strain that we normally see in the Democratic Republic of Congo on an annual basis, that we know that the vaccines are not reliable against this strain. It wasn't designed for this strain. The strain is quite different, and that's why, you know, and again, the infection properties seem that it's spreading much faster. We've contained previous Ebola outbreaks. We have Ebola outbreaks every year to some degree, but we haven't had a public health emergency international concern declaration for Ebola for quite a few years.
Yeah. And so, see, that's what it is. Like, people are gonna go online. They're gonna hear that like, they'll just see that the World Health Organization came out with that international emergency, right? And they'll just see that. They won't look into it or whatever, and then they'll go on TikTok, put a little green screen up where it just says, "Oh, World Health, sets a national emergency," but like no context, and they'll sit in front of their green screen and be like, "Guys, look, the Hantavirus is turning into a global emergency," and then we're cooked. And then people will believe. It'll get millions of views, and people won't do their research. People won't look it up for themselves, and then boom, everyone's freaking out. That is how it works. That's how it works with everything. Everything.
I think that's the worrisome. It's very different, and it's seemingly spreading faster. And I think the lack of interest. This is the first year in which we have an Ebola outbreak in which there's very little international coordination. Again, lack of USAID presence that previously USAID would identify.
What is USAID? Yeah. What is USAID? USAID? Okay. Oh. Okay. So, it's an independent agency of the United States federal government, primarily responsible for administering civilian foreign aid, humanitarian assistance, and global development. Did we leave it? Is that what happened?
As the infrastructure in place to identify infectious disease spread and start isolation and all these other contact tracing within 48 hours, we're now well over a week and a half behind, and because of the lack of the ground infrastructure that we used to have. And I think that's altogether very worrisome, especially since, and also coming up, we have the World Cup in about approximately a month or so, and if we don't get this contained, with all the World Cup travelers around the world traveling, it's going to be a nightmare. Any virus that, when you add in an enormous amount of international travel, whether it's World Cup or Olympics, it causes a certain degree of fear that if we don't control it in time.
So, bro, I know nothing about World Cup or Olympics, but aren't those things that only happen like once every few years or something? I don't know for sure. So.
Just to underline that, you think at this point, the way this is progressing, that an event like the World Cup, obviously tens of thousands of people coming to the US, this could be a serious factor, gathering that many people.
Oh, it's in the US? What?
All those different parts of the world with this.
Oh, it is. Wasn't there that little meme thing about like the English people saying, oh, we're gonna walk from like somewhere to the stadium, and like all the Americans were like, no, you're not, because they have to cross I-95. But granted, I don't know what I-95 is like up in New York. I only know what it's like in Virginia, and in Virginia, I guess it's 6 lanes. Yeah, I guess it is 6 lanes, isn't it? Because you have 3 on each side. So yeah. But I mean, if you just time it right and then sprint across, you got it for a. Don't actually do that.
Situation.
Yeah, if we don't get it contained. The good thing is, like, the transmission of Ebola is a much more severe virus, and it's not as readily airborne as, COVID or even Hantavirus at all. And so theoretically, Ebola should be able to be containable, because it's such a faster progressing disease, 2 to 21 days, as opposed to 6 to 8 weeks for Hantavirus, for example. And it's not as airborne. So we should be able to contain it, but we don't have the testing infrastructure. I think the U.S. just implemented travel bans for anyone who has been to Democratic Republic of Congo, Rwanda, or South Sudan in the last 21 days. But even then, the virus can travel beyond those 3 countries. Yeah. And hopefully it doesn't.
What are your opinions? Yeah, for real, tell me what you think
spreader about at some point in the near future. But the fact that it's already killing a lot of healthcare workers when healthcare workers have a lot of access to healthcare and other testing is very worrisome. American doctor was also affected recently today in the Democratic
An American
Republic
doctor.
of Congo.
Oh,
so
okay.
It seems
I thought when he said American doctor, I was like, in America, but nah, okay.
Spread to even those who should be able to contain it and identify symptoms of it, but they still got infected. That's what worrisome. The speed of the spread is much faster than in the 2014 Ebola pandemic, for example.
2014.
A lot of what you've said falls really heavily on the non-expert ears. One of them I just want to talk about a little is that this strain of Ebola has no approved vaccines, which seems like the screaming headline straight off the bat. On the surface, that sounds extremely troubling, is it?
Yes. I imagine so.
Theoretically, there should be cross-reactivity, but, we've already vaccinated a lot of people against the previous Ebola strains, but clearly that's not slowing this one down. So obviously we could vaccinate more, but that involves a lot of testing, contact tracing, and then what we would do traditionally is...
Like... Vaccine making sounds so complicated. Like, I could not imagine being one of the people who has to make a vaccine. I feel like I could if I knew, like, how to do it. But, like, all the testing. You're, like, fiddling with all these little vials and, like, putting them in the little thing that spins. I don't even know. All I see is what I see on TV, obviously.
Once we find cases, we would do a ring vaccination of everyone in that community. That's how we stop smallpox. But the issue is the speed of deployment. We don't have that speed. The USAID used to be that speed of deployment. It would be in the locally in presence and actually give out medications and have funded local healthcare workers and medical clinics to do that, but that doesn't exist. The healthcare infrastructure to contain this is much more diminished now that USAID is gone. And I think this is clearly one of the examples of what happens when you decimate the healthcare infrastructure in a lot of these countries. So I'm worried about the speed of response.
100%, bro. Like, America's healthcare isn't good. But, like, insurance-wise, like, it's expensive. But, like, it is there. Like, I couldn't imagine being, like, somewhere where, like, there's not a hospital, like, how far is the farthest out? Like, there's not a hospital, like, 15 minutes away from me. Because I live in a city, but there's a hospital, like, 15, 20 minutes away. I couldn't imagine, like, living somewhere where that's not a thing. Like, that would be kind of spooky, bro. Well, and there's an ER, like, 5 minutes from me. So.
In an epidemic, the slow speed of response could yield to a much, much faster spread because containment and control is much, much reduced compared to what we used to have.
And I'm right that the other factor that makes that even more difficult, the speed of response, is that there is a lag time quite often between infection and diagnosis. Is that right?
That would make sense. Yes.
Now, Ebola's symptoms are much more severe, so it's much more clear that you have it. But by the time it shows up, the testing is not there. It's much more delayed. The containment, the tracing, the isolation, coordination, all this public health response takes a lot of coordination, a lot of logistical coordination. It's like it's like a disaster response. But you have to have the teams in place to do this. And the fact that it's the infrastructure to contain it is missing, that is what's worrisome because the response is now so slow compared to what it is before. Now, WHO is obviously responding. That's why declaring the public health emergency of international concern.
Yes.
But even then, hopefully it's not too little too late.
I mean, the WHO, they are sending 5 tons, which is a lot, bro. Well, actually, I don't know. But it seems like a lot. But they're sending 5 tons of medical equipment. But like he's saying, like, it could be too late, which I surely hope it isn't, because that's sad. So, I mean,
WHO even recognizes we're much further behind than we had thought.
Yeah.
That's why they sounded the alarm when they realized that the virus is starting to get much more out of control than they originally thought was localized.
I just want to hear from Jean-Jacques Muyembe Tamfum, a microbiologist, the microbiologist who discovered the Ebola virus vaccine to a different strain, talking about the current situation.
Le risque est très grand. The risk is very high that the next pandemic will start from the Democratic Republic of Congo. There is a strong chance this will happen because our ecosystem is favorable to the development of various pathogens.
Oh, dang, for real?
But the problem, as I told you, is the weakness of surveillance. Our system is very weak at detecting an outbreak.
Now, after COVID, Eric, the word pandemic used by Jean-Jacques...
What did he say?
Hits different for the public who lived through it. Remind us of the exact definition of the word pandemic and where we are on that journey this time around.
Well, pandemic is spread not just in multiple countries, which already have, but uncontrolled spread in multiple regions of the world as well. And so if this gets out of Central Africa, which right now is still in Central Africa, albeit in multiple countries in Central Africa, multiple communities and cities there, if it gets beyond just regional and having community transmission spread in many countries and regions in the world, and it becomes significant enough beyond just one or two handful of cases, then the WHO will declare a true pandemic. We haven't gotten there yet. Hopefully, we won't get there. But this is why time is of the essence. We have to contain this before the World Cup, because the World Cup is one of those international gathering events where, again,
because so like, say you live in Africa, right? You live in Central Africa, and then you you're going to the World Cup, but little do you know, you have the strain of Ebola, this one. And then you go to the World Cup, which is in the U.S., and someone else gets infected. And then someone else gets infected. And then someone else, and then someone else, and then someone else. And then it just explodes and spiders out from there. I'm not saying that'll happen, but, like, those are the possibilities, right? I'm not fear-mongering. I'm just saying what is possible. Yeah. It's also possible that won't happen. We don't know. That is in the future.
Thousands, hundreds of thousands of people will travel and bring a lot of intermingling of pathogens. And this is where, testing, years ago during the previous pandemic, our team developed one of the world's first contact tracing mobile apps for during the Ebola pandemic, but people laughed and like, why would we ever need to use this? So obviously when COVID hit, we now realized why contact tracing is so important. But in many ways, the lessons of COVID.
What is contact tracing? Is that just like tracing who you have contact with?
To the wayside, we haven't learned these lessons, and if anything, we have decimated our public health infrastructure since then.
100%.
The lack of coordination between CDC and WHO, the decimation of USAID used to provide, thousands of healthcare workers directly with field training to contain this and do surveillance. They used to have a rule, 48 hours of detection or less, but now that's non-existent. That's where I'm really worried. I really hope we can contain this, and it takes coordination, and hopefully it will not reach pandemic levels before the World Cup, because that could really make it go pandemic.
Yeah, certainly the world has changed a lot since that pandemic, and we've entered a different funding world, if you like. You did point out that the Centers for Disease Control based in the United States.
Oh, that's what the CDC is. Centers for Disease Control. Okay. So that's what, like, Leon is, right? He, like, the CDC, for real. He got the, what is it? Las Plagas. I'm gonna try and remember. He has Las Plagas, he had the, whatever, oh my gosh, what was it in, freaking Resident Evil 2? The T-Virus, right? Right? Isn't it the T-Virus? I surely hope I'm not wrong. But, yeah, bro. And then he, now he's in Resident Evil 9. Still haven't finished watching playthrough of that.
And USAID. To any response. Do you get the feel for whether the funding cuts made are making this already much harder to deal with?
100%, right?
Yeah, I think so. And there's,
that makes sense.
The previous USAID directors have directly said this. Like, they're very worried about this Ebola pandemic because as the previous inventor of the Ebola vaccine noted, like, there's no surveillance in the Democratic Republic of Congo because they have no public health infrastructure. This is where the virus will just keep spreading, and unless you test, contain. Without a vaccine, the main strategy is test quickly, contain quickly, quarantine quickly, isolate quickly. But without that requires an enormous amount of coordination.
That's so much like healthcare, like forces and stuff that you would need to, like, contain that many and test that many and get all of that done. Like, that's so much that you need that they don't have.
Don't have that. And I'm very worried. Like, I don't want to call that potentially this go thermonuclear, but if we do not get our heads wrapped around this quickly and throw all of our resources, like true, like, massive military level groundswell of coordination by the WHO and local countries, this could really get very, very bad. Especially, again, we also have very limited treatment for this virus strain as well.
Yeah, because they don't have.
And as to who steps into the breach without that leading role from USAID, now that the WHO is labelling this a public health emergency of international concern, are you confident that the international community will mobilise enough to deal with this emergency?
I don't know. I would hope so, that other countries would help.
There are going to be people to fill that gap.
I hope they do. Like, they can send resources. That's, you know, the public health emergency international concern alerts countries that potentially we need you to send resources to contain this. But, you know, the U.S. under the Trump administration does not want to send resources to the WHO. They want nothing to do with the WHO, as you know.
That's
and
crazy,
the European
dude.
Union, and basically it takes a lot of resources to be shipped in to do this. It's almost a military level operation and needs to be done to contain this. But these are very difficult. Some of these villages are very difficult to reach. And if it hits the major cities of Central Africa, I'm very worried. So I think I beseech all the country leaders out there to please listen and please send all the resources that you can to this response, because
I really hope, like, I don't know if Trump is gonna do it. I don't know what Trump ever is thinking. I mean, obviously I'm not him, but like, I don't know. When I saw he like left the world, like we left the World Health, I was like, what are we doing? Like, it's just I really hope like someone. I don't know if Trump will, bro.
Out of control, it will affect their countries, even though many countries just think they can just sit on their hands. No, this will hit your shores, and it will be much worse. An ounce of prevention and resources sent to Central Africa now is worth a pound of cure.
Eric Feigl-Ding is an epidemiologist and chair of the Department of Public Health at the New England Complex Systems Institute in the US. It's been a pleasure. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Stay safe.
Hey, bro.
Right, the floor is yours. Let us know what you think, your concerns.
I'm just worried, yo. What are the comments saying? Can't we just cancel the World Cup, literally? I worked at a hospital during COVID and Ebola is not something I want to deal with. Imagine if Hantavirus plus Ebola make a virus recombination. Gosh, dude. Ebola is COVID on crack. Dang. World Cup is too expensive for Ebola? Oh, that's... You know, a lot of people with that money do business in tourism trips to poor nations, right? Football is a sport for lower classes. Damn, what the hell are they talking about, bro? Let's see if there's any other... I'm not watching something that is, like, super, super long. Alright, let's see. I'll go back to, like, the main page, because I got on that. New twist, what? A twist in the Hantavirus. Fox News, I don't know if Fox News is trustworthy, or if they're not. I have no clue. So, yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But, we'll see.
The cruise ship linked to Hantavirus getting disinfected at a Dutch port as Canada confirms its first case linked to that outbreak.
Canada!
Dr. Siegel got an exclusive look from the State Department of the plane that brought home the American passengers. He also spoke with a physician who was actually on the ship and tested negative after a false positive.
Well, I mean, it's good he tested negative, right? Oh, wait. Hey, this guy was on the boat? Oh, what? Oh, what? He was on it? He was on it, yo? He was on it? What? Wait, guys, hold on. How do I... Alright.
Small group, and you really start to feel like you're a family.
I don't know, I've never been on a cruise before.
When I heard that a lady on board was ill, I just felt the need just to volunteer to the doctor. So very quickly, after I almost innocently just asked if I could be at help, it was clear that there was no medical presence on the boat anymore. And my involvement just kind of escalated from there.
Fox News senior medical analyst Dr. Mark Siegel is the author of The Miracles Among Us, How God's Grace Plays a Role in Healing, and he joins us now. Good morning to you, Dr. Siegel.
Hi, Ainsley. How are you?
Tell us what's happening in Canada. Canada has reported its first presumptive positive hantavirus case.
Well, I think that case is related directly to the people on the ship. You know, the problem with the ship was they went days, and Dr. Kornfeld just told me.
Oh my gosh, yo, he sounds like me, stuttering. I get he's old, but it's on every word.
They didn't know it was Hanta right away. They didn't know. They knew people were getting sick, but they didn't know till May 2nd, and then they didn't know till May 4th.
I mean, wait, was Hantavirus already a thing? Or was it just like they made up the name? Like, I don't know.
That it was transmitting. So that led to passengers disembarking, and they've been doing a really good job tracking them and tracing them in something called contact tracing.
Yes,
but still,
I don't know what that is.
The genie, to some extent, was out of the bottle. Luckily, we're seeing very limited spread, and that explains the patient in Canada. The good news is we're not seeing a lot of this, and the more days that tick by.
Bro, I'm not judging him, but he's speaking like so much without taking a breath. He's like he's just like yapping, and just like yapping and yapping. He's not like breathing. It's like he's like barely breathing, and he's talking so quick. Like he's just pop 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 pop.
Better off this is. And Ainsley, I was very impressed with Dr. Kornfeld with what you just showed, where he talked about, I had limited resources on that boat. He raised his hand, he said to the ship's doctor, if you ever need anyone, remember on the plane, if you ever need anyone, well, the ship's doctor came down with Hanta, and he was a general practitioner. Kornfeld is an oncologist, so he knows what it's like to look into the eyes of very sick people and to reassure them. And if you can conquer their fears,
what is
you
that?
decrease the spread. And that was what he did. He's a hero.
You know, doctors are heroes. You take the oath and you always jump in to help. And it's amazing. And Dr. Stephen Kornfeld was just on this cruise. And when the doctor that was assigned to the cruise was sick and came down with Hanta, he stepped up to the plate, which was very, very selfless of him. Here's Dr. Kornfeld telling you what it was like, because he originally had that false positive test and he was experiencing some symptoms. Listen to this.
Well, if it was false positive, how was he experiencing symptoms? Was it like placebo?
Fatigue, some generalized body ache, a little headache, upper respiratory, very flu, generically using the term flu-like symptoms. There was a lot of debate over whether or not my earlier illness was Hanta. I never felt it was Hanta, and I'm talking early April. I never felt it was Hanta because the timing was off. I don't think I got exposed before I got on the boat.
The subtitles are so out of time.
And it was too quick after I got on the boat and exposed to the gentleman who initially had Hanta for me to get Hanta. But there was a lot of thoughts that maybe I had Hanta. When my antibody test came back negative, both IgG and IgM, then nobody felt that my original illness was Hanta, and it was simply the ship flu, as most ships get. And it passed around to a lot of us in early April.
I'm glad it actually wasn't Hanta. Dr. Siegel, what is your advice to people that have cruise booked for the summer?
Don't go.
I think that cruises are safe, and one of the things I want people to know is, look, this was the ship's doctor, and he was walking around handing out, you know, personal protective equipment and reassuring people and interacting daily, making rounds, and he still didn't actually get it. You're not going to get it on a cruise ship. And the other thing I want everyone to know, and Kornfeld said this too, the State Department did a tremendous job, and we showed the photos, getting them out of the Canary Islands, the Americans, and over to Nebraska where they're being quarantined. And he was very impressed with the technology, but when he got to Nebraska, he was very impressed with the medical director's personal touch. And there we go again, Ainsley, the personal touch is what really matters. For people out there, the risk to the general public right now is close to zero. We're monitoring it very carefully. CDC is involved, HHS is involved, the WHO, European health authorities are involved, and Nebraska is doing a tremendous job, as I just saw when I was there.
Okay, Dr. Siegel, thank you so much.
So it's not as bad as everyone's making it out to be, is what it seems. That is what it seems. That it's not as bad as everyone is saying that it is. The Ebola is, but not the Hantavirus. Alright. Wow. Loki, are we done with the research? I think I should be. I've been doing this for like an hour. Oh my gosh. Yeah, we done with research, for real.